Welcome to the channel. In this video I'll be showing my new cooler, the Thermalright Royal Pretor 130 Ultra. I have been using a 360 IO for a while on my 12900KF CPU, and I've been curious to see how well it can be air-cooled. This Royal Pretor 130 Ultra caught my eye when I was browsing through air coolers online. I bought the cooler on Amazon for €49, which pre-tax works out to around €40 or $47 or £35. If you are interested in the specs, it has 7 6mm heat pipes, a 120x25mm front fan, a 130x28mm fan in the middle of the tower, and the cooler is 158mm tall. The 128mm front fan is quite standard, with a 4-pin PWM cable for power, and a 3-pin 5V ARGB cable, which is for the small strips of LEDs in each corner on the front of the fan. The 130mm fan in the center of the cooler has no ARGB elements. It is 3mm thicker than the front fan and just has the 4-pin PWM cable. Both fans can be daisy-chained with the included splitter cable. Here is just a close-up of the heatsink. In the accessory box you get the fan splitter cable, spring clips for the fans to attach to the cooler, some thermal paste as there isn't any pre-applied to the cooler, brackets for AMD and Intel motherboards, the back plate for Intel's 115X or 1700 or 1851 sockets, and all the various standoffs and screws for mounting to whichever AMD or Intel socket that you're using. Here's a quick look at the cooler assembled. The cooler installation process was fairly straightforward. Just to point out that I am using Thermalright's LGA 1700 contact frame, which should help to lower overall temps a little, as I'm using a very power-hungry CPU. So, we start with the Intel backplate on the back of the motherboard, then add the standoffs for the brackets, then secure the brackets to the standoffs, and finally thermal paste. The middle fan will need to stay off the cooler until the two heatsink mounting points are screwed onto the brackets underneath. And the finished install looks like this. And with everything running, it looks like this. You can see the ARGB strips in the corners cycling through the rainbow preset, but you can change this up with whatever software you're using. My RAM is low profile, so if you have taller RGB memory kits, then you might need to move that front fan up a few millimeters to let it clear the RAM. Just remember that the cooler is 158mm tall in its base configuration, so just check your case's specs to see if it can support the front fan being shifted up a few millimeters if you plan to use this cooler. Next, I'll show this Cinebench R23 Multicore run to put a heavy load on the CPU and see how much power it draws and how well the cooler will be able to handle it. I'll show the whole run here, feel free to skip it, but you can see the CPU regularly pulls over 240 watts during the cycles, with the temperature hitting around 80°C. And as the run comes to an end, you can see the max temps and power draw for the full run. It's hardly a scientific method to show the cooler's performance, but it gives me a good idea of what to expect from it. If you are interested, my PC is set up like this, with 5 140mm Thermalright case fans. I don't have any fans in the roof of the case for now, but I might experiment with that later. I just let the MSI Cooling Wizard software handle the fan speeds for everything by toggling its smart control feature, which is just a built-in fan curve in the software. So, my max power draw for the run was 265 watts, and the max temperature for the CPU package was 83°C, which I thought was very good. I'm quite happy with that. Moving on to a bit of gameplay. The first one I'll show here is Doom: The Dark Ages. The CPU usage wasn't that high, and so the CPU temp is relatively low. And lastly, Cyberpunk 2077, which is a little more taxing on the CPU, but the temps are still very good. I don't have many games that are really more CPU intensive than GPU intensive, and at 1440p for me, the CPU isn't under a really heavy load, so the cooler is able to handle it very well. That's it for this video. I hope you found some of this useful. I'm quite happy with the performance of the cooler and can easily recommend it for the majority of setups, provided your case and RAM choice can support it. Thanks very much for watching.